is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash.
Good morning. Welcome to our service here this morning. It's been a privilege and honor to bring you God's Word, to share with you from the book of Matthew this morning. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'll be sharing from the book of Matthew, which is the first book of the New Testament. And the other interesting fact that I'll share with you, Matthew's name was actually Levi, so if you want to figure that out, you'll have to go back and do some studying. But that's one of the two things that I would like to accomplish today, is that if you could go home and read the book of Matthew, that's the number one goal for this morning. So that's something for you to put in the back of your mind or write it down in your notes. Read the book of Matthew. And the second thing is we're talking about the wise man and the foolish man and building on the rock of the sand. And the second thing I'd like to accomplish this morning is to realize that choosing a solid foundation is critical, but building requires action. And so that's the two things that we're going to accomplish here this morning. That's my goal, and that's what I'm looking forward to share with you. I was reading through the book of Matthew, and I got to chapter 7, and I read to verse 24, and I saw the word therefore, and it caught my attention. You see the word therefore, I was like, okay, what's going on? Because therefore means something was said that explains what is coming. For instance, I am nervous, therefore I'm going to have a drink of water. Therefore. I drank water, therefore now I have to use the bathroom. I did the dishes, therefore my wife is happy. Therefore. Or for kids, you might be thinking, I disobeyed my parents, therefore I'm going to stay home and do chores today. Therefore. When we see therefore, we should pay attention. We should dig in a little bit and really look at what's going on. Matthew writes, therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man that built his house on the rock. And that got my attention. And so I'll be sharing from those verses here today. But before we go into that, I'd just like to open up in a word of prayer. So if you'd bow with me, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much, Lord, for these words that we have in the book of Matthew. Thank you that we can study them and learn from them. Lord, I pray that you would help us do that this morning. Open our minds to understand the message you have for us, Lord. Help us to be able to build as the wise men did and have our foundation on the rock, that we may stand strong when the storms of life come. I pray this in your holy name. Amen. So many of us know that song, and we probably sang it often. And I'm not sure if you guys want to help me sing it this morning. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock, and the rains came tumbling down. Right? And what happens when the rains come down and the floods come up? The house stands strong, right? The house did not fall. The house stood. And so our natural kind of instinct or our natural thought line is to go and look at the foundation. We see the foundation, well, it's on the rock, right? And that's good. And so when we talk about it, a lot of times we'll talk to, especially children, we'll say, make sure that you choose to build your house on the rock. Choose to live your life according to the words of God, according to the Bible. That's great advice. But there's another word that we should pay attention. But we see written here that whoever hears these words of mine and puts them into practice. And it's the second part of that sometimes we skip over, we forget about. We have to put it into practice. And that's what will make us like that wise man. Choosing the foundation is important, but building requires action. The choice is up to each one of us. Each one can choose whether we actually want to build, whether we want to put those words into practice, or not. That is our freedom. We get to choose. And those that do put Jesus' teaching into practice will be like the wise man that built his house on the rock. When the storm comes, when the wind blows, when the rain comes down, and when the floods rise, the house will stand firm. I'll have a short clip of what it looks like when a house stands firm in the midst of a storm. So I'll get the Caleb in the back there to play that for us.
The home sustained minor damage, a broken outdoor fan and a bit of flooding, along with 2 cracked windows. It was the strength of the glass in those windows, King says, that spared the home.
This got hit by, we don't know what. Maybe one of our own neighbors, something from the neighborhood, we don't know. We lose this window, we lose this house. Because if this window's compromised, the wind comes in, it's looking for what to do next. And it'll clear the roof off, which is, I'm afraid of this house here.
What's next for King is learning from the mistakes that he did make.
Well, indoor outdoor fan is supposed to be just fine, but we learned the hard way, don't put in a fan outside in an unenclosed area.
The wind ripped the fan down and the ceiling with it. Plus, no more outlets in the ceiling.
The ceiling outlet now has been moved to the ceiling of the wall, we moved it over here, tied it in, as high as we can.
And more hurricane clips.
It's all in wood, all the Simpson clips all over. Everywhere we can find where there's not a hurricane clip, we're putting a Simpson hurricane clip.
To ensure the house built for the big one can make it through the next one. In Mexico Beach, Jennifer Hilton, Fox 13 News.
So there we see an example of a house that was built on a solid foundation. It was built strong, and the owner's goal right from the beginning was to make sure that his house could withstand the storm. That was his goal. And he stuck to his goal. He chose a strong foundation, he got advice, he listened carefully, and he put it into practice. When the storm came, it stood, just like intended. He had to get a team together. He had to find architects. He had to find an engineer. He had to find a builder, a designer, all these different people. And he got each one to help him accomplish his goal. Now we know that it would be useless if we just listened to the team. If he got this whole team together and he just heard what they had to say and that was it, and then went on his own and built his home totally different, that wouldn't be any good. If the owner had memorized all the codes, studied all the details that needed to make that home strong, and yet did not put them into practice, even if he had all the right material there, but if he didn't use it, it would be like all the rest of the homes that would have got flat. There wasn't on this clip, but there was another clip of that same home where the owner said one thing that really caught my attention. He said, "You are going to have to give up some things you probably want in order to increase your chance to survive." And the example that you saw in this clip here was the outside fan. See, if you wanted a fan on the outside because it was nice, but that was actually what caused a weakness in his design. This is like the temptations that we face in life. Sometimes we want things. And those things that we want, those temptations, they may cause us to sin. They cause a weakness in our life. But by putting the practice of Jesus, putting into practice the words of Jesus, may require us to give up things that we actually want, things that seem nice. However, if we do put into practice those words, then we will be like the wise man. Then we will have a house that will stand when the storms come. Our house will not fall. So I'm not sure how bad my singing really was from up here, couldn't really tell, but there's another verse to that song. And so I'd like you guys to help me sing that as well. And so the second verse goes, the foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand, and the rains came tumbling down. And so when the rains came down, and the floods come up, and what happens to this house? There's a huge crash, right? The house fell. And so this is the second group of people that is mentioned in Matthew, chapter 7, verse 26. It says, but everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. There's actually a very famous building that was built on a soft foundation, and it shows. And yet this building, though it's still standing, it's leaning. You probably know the building I'm referring to. It's the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or simply the Tower of Pisa. And I learned something else. This tower is actually called the Campanile. Yeah, so that's not a word you hear today. The Campanile is a freestanding bell tower. So there's a bell tower by itself. You can call it a Campanile. There you go. That's your Italian lesson for this morning. Is it Italian? It is known. This building is known for having a lean of 4 degrees. So it's a 4-degree lean, almost 4-degree one way. And the result of this was an unstable foundation. The tower is one of 3 structures in the cathedral square, and it includes the cathedral baptistry as well as the church part. This tower, the height of it is 55.86 meters high, so 183 feet and 3 inches tall. That's only on one side. On the other side is 56.67 meters, or 185 feet and 11 inches, so over 2 feet taller because of the lean. I found that quite interesting. The width of the walls at the base is 2.44 meters, 8 feet wide. Its weight is estimated at 14,500 tons. This tower has 296 steps, or 294 if you go on the other side. Again, the 7th floor has 2 stairs less on one side. Quite interesting. So if you're having a race to the top, make sure you pick the right side. The north-facing wall has 2 fewer steps. The tower began to lean during construction in the 12th century due to the soft ground, which could not properly support the structure's weight. It worsened through the completion of construction in the 14th century. By 1990, the tilt had reached 5.5 degrees. The structure was stabilized by remedial work between 1993 and 2001, which reduced the tilt to 3.97 degrees, and that's where it stands today. So they had to fix up the foundation, they had to stabilize it because it was slowly starting to fall over. So a solid foundation is very critical. In fact, here's another tip of what happens when the foundation is not solid, like sand. I don't know how good you can hear the audio of this clip. There's a bit of accent, it's hard to understand, but the video speaks for itself, so we'll play that video here now.
From Bengal, a 4-story apartment building collapsed like a house of cards this morning in Daspur in Bengal's West Midnapur district. The collapse triggered failure by a canal being dug just next to the building. Cracks had started developing a couple of days ago, so the building had been vacated, so no one was injured. But the incident has shocked the locals, and the video has gone viral. The owner of the building is a local businessman.
That's what happens when the foundation is not solid. When the rain came and the floods rose and it washed away the banks of that canal and the house fell with a great crash, just like we see written in Scripture, and just like the song goes. This house was built on the sand and it could not survive the storm. So according to the words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 7, verse 26 to 27, anyone who hears and does not obey his teaching is like a foolish man that built his house on the sand. And it seems so clear, it seems so easy. Where should we build? On the rock. Choosing a solid foundation is critical, but building requires action. So in a backwards kind of way, we choose our foundation by the way we act. We choose it by the things that we do, by our actions. That's what creates that solid foundation. It's almost in reverse. How many people here, by show of hands, how many people have built a home or have a home built? Anybody been through that process? Still married? Good for you. That's a process. So if you want to build a house, you start with a design. You figure out the things you want, you find a blueprint, you have to find a design. And the second thing that you do is you find a solid foundation. And then construction begins. That's when the work begins. So if you choose your blueprint and you choose your foundation, your spot, nice solid ground, and you start building, you build a solid foundation, you have concrete poured, everything is good. So you chose to build on the rock, right? Now what if you stop there? You still have no house. You really haven't accomplished a whole lot. You've chosen where to build, you've got a solid foundation, but you've got nothing. And that's why we find in Matthew the second part of that statement. Those who hear and obey are like wise men. Those who hear and do not put into practice are like a foolish man. So what are the words that we need to obey? What are the teachings that we need to obey or practice? Well, a good place to start is exactly in the book of Matthew. Matthew likes to make lists. He's a very organized writer, and it's an excellent book for just having different lists of things that we can follow. And so we'll start there. Start in chapter 5. If you go back to Matthew chapter 5, some of you will know that is where we find a list of promised blessings, known as the Beatitudes. You'll be blessed if this. Those that are like this will be blessed. Those that, there's a big list of things there. In fact, I'll just read it for you here this morning. Matthew chapter 5. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. We have these promised blessings. So Matthew chapter 5, if you look at the overall time of this, it's at the beginning of Jesus' ministry. Jesus has been baptized, he spent some time in the wilderness, he's fasted, he's been tested by Satan, and he's starting to do miracles. He's starting to heal people, and they gather and they follow him. And it's at the beginning of his ministry. So I'm just going to summarize some more things that he taught at that time. So at the beginning, he was kind of like laying out the ground rules. Almost like saying, just so you people know, this is what it means if you want to follow me. And he starts with those promised blessings in chapter 5. And he says you're probably going to suffer a little bit. You probably, you might hunger and thirst, but your reward is coming. And then he starts to teach a number of different things. And he says followers of Jesus are the salt and light of the world. That's who you are. If you follow God, if you want to follow God, you should follow the commands given by Moses. You should make peace. You shouldn't control your impure thoughts because they are sexual sin, just like adultery is sexual sin. He says don't divorce. Divorce leads to adultery. Talk with sincerity. All these things are listed in great expanded into verses. And I'm just skipping over very quickly, but there's so much there. He says do not fight back. Rather, go the extra mile. If you want to be a follower of Jesus, love your enemies. Give discreetly, and God will reward you. You should pray. As a follower of Jesus, fasting is a good thing. It's something we need to practice. Realize that you cannot serve two masters. Put God's kingdom first. Be careful about criticizing others. Ask God for what you need. And He gives us an example of a prayer when you can ask God for what you need. The way to heaven is narrow, but the way to hell is wide. And then he says, towards the end, he says, what people do, the fruit of their life will reveal who they are. And then at the end, there will be two types of people. There will be two kinds of people. There will be wise, and there will be the foolish. Choosing our foundation is critical, but building requires action. And there has to be an action, and the action will reveal the foundation. In chapter 7, verse 17 to 18, we are told that every good tree bears good fruit. Every good tree. And every bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. And in verse 20 it says, you'll be recognized. People will be recognized by their fruit. Their fruit will indicate who you are. And so there's a good place to begin. Take a look at your life. Take a look at the fruit in your life. What is it telling you? What is it telling you about the choices you're making, the building that you're building? Are you building on the rock? And this can be difficult to analyze and to see where we need to change, how we can become more like Jesus, how to become a follower of Him, and stay when the temptations come. But there's some wisdom given that we can draw on, and wisdom we found in James chapter 1:22 says, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourself. See, sometimes we think if I read the Bible, and if I know about it, that's good, but that's how we deceive ourselves. We have to put it into practice. We have to do what it says according to James. And today is a good day to start building according to the teaching of Jesus. So what is one thing in your life that you can do to obey the words of Jesus? What is one thing where you can lay one block, start building with one block, and see where it goes? We don't have to build a house in one day, but we need to start. Matthew has made a nice list of things to consider. And yet again, realizing our faults is so difficult sometimes. In Proverbs, we see some more wisdom given. And in chapter 12, verse 15, it says, the way of the fool seems right to them, but the wise listen to advice. See, it seems right, but that's the way of the fool. And that's where we have to be so careful and analyze and ask God for help and understanding how we can take advice and put it into practice in our own life. And in closing, I just want to leave you with some verses from Proverbs chapter 4. Some wisdom given there. So Proverbs chapter 4. Listen, my sons, to a father's instruction. Pay attention and gain understanding. I give you sound learning, so do not forsake my teaching. For I too was a son to my father, still tender and cherished by my mother. Then he taught me, and he said to me, take hold of my words with all your... take hold of my words with all your heart. Keep my commands, and you will live. Get wisdom. Get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn away from them. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she will watch over you. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it costs all you have, Get understanding. Cherish her, and she will exalt you. Embrace her, and she will honor you. She will give you a garland to grace your head, and present you with a glorious crown. Listen, my son, accept what I say, and the years of your life will be many. I instruct you in the way of wisdom, and lead you along straight paths. When you walk, your steps will not be hampered. When you run, you will not stumble. Hold on to instruction. Do not let it go. Guard it well, for it is your life. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on a rock. Choose a solid foundation. That is critical, but building requires action. Thank you.
All stand as we sing. When the trumpet of the Lord shall sound, the time shall be no more, and the morning breaks eternal light fair. When the sailors shall gather over on the other shore, and the roses call yonder, I'll be there. When the roses call yonder, 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 I'll be there. On the bright clouds morning, when the dead in Christ shall rise, and the glory of His resurrection share. When His chosen ones shall gather to their home beyond the sky, and the roses call yonder, I'll be there. When the roses call yonder, 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 I'll be there. Let us wait for the Master from the dawn till setting sun. Let us talk of all His wondrous love and care. Then when all of life is over and our work on earth is done, and the roses call yonder, I'll be there. When the roses call yonder, 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 I'll be there. Enjoy the rest of your day, weekend.
Oh, is he?